All right, we're live.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Florida Realtors.
Hey, Margy.
Hi, how you doing, Alex?
Good. I'm doing great. Good afternoon, everybody. We were talking off camera, and Margy and I have something in common. We have twins. How old are your twins again?
They are 13.
13. I was about to ask you how old the other one was. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
I've been in the car for 3 hours. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Alex Vidal. I am president of Related ISG International Realty and host of the show. You're watching episode number 80 of the Closer Club. And today, we are sitting with one of the most important, most powerful people in our business, especially in the state of Florida, Margy Grant, who is the CEO of Florida Realtors, as most realtors probably still know it, Florida Association of Realtors. When did the name change, by the way?
Oh, gosh. 8 years ago?
Was it 8 years ago?
It was 8 years ago.
Wow, we really are creatures of habit.
Well, you know what it came down to is when you're walking through the halls in Tallahassee and you're talking to decision makers and you say, listen, FAR has a position, they're kind of looking at each other saying, who's FAR?
Yeah.
So when you go in, you say, listen, I'm with Florida Realtors. They instantly know who we are and why it's important that we're there.
Got it. So it was just pure, hey, you're in Tallahassee, you're talking to decision makers. It's a lot easier just to say it. That was the name.
That plus the importance of the brand. You as an industry absolutely make or break the economy. And therefore, we want the entire community to know who you are and why you're important. And they don't know who FAR or FAR is.
Got it.
When they say Florida Realtors, people look and go, oh, yeah, okay.
Got it. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, how long is Florida, and this is not even on here.
Yeah.
You didn't even really look at the questions. How long has Florida Association or Florida Realtors been around?
A little bit more than 100 years. We
Wow.
celebrated our 100th anniversary when Mady VC from Miami was president.
Okay.
So we had a big birthday party, and we're just still going strong. So I think we're in our 100 and almost fourth year, and it's awesome.
Wow, that is awesome. There's some realtors that have been around 104 years. All right,
And they all have my phone number.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, so let's get into who you are first so they can learn a little bit about you, because I think a lot of the audience doesn't know who you are, and I'd love for them to learn a little bit about you. So you started up in the Northeast. You graduated law school. You're a member of the Florida Bar, the Massachusetts Bar, the California Bar. You joined Florida Realtors in 2005, and now you're the CEO of our wonderful Florida Realtors. Tell us a little bit about your path to where you are today.
Sure. So I was an budding lawyer. I was a young lawyer. I was happily married, and I followed my husband to California, joined a firm, loved what I did.
Where in California?
San Diego.
Oh, love San Diego.
I called it Shangri-La. We had the best time. And then the economy imploded. So he closed a plant, and we had a couple of options. It was go back to the Northeast, go to Minnesota, or go to Hong Kong. And I looked at him and I said, let's go home. Let's go home, figure out what we want to do. Shortly thereafter, I sat there and was like, okay, well, what do I want to do when I grow up? And I called a friend who was close friends with the general counsel of the Massachusetts Realtors and said, hey, listen, I'm not really sure what I want to do. And he said, do you remember this guy? I said, yeah. And I thought that he had the coolest job ever. He was the government affairs director and the general counsel for the Realtors. Okay. And I loved what he did. And he hired me.
In Massachusetts?
Yeah. And I honestly thought, well, I'll do this for 6 months. I'll do this for 6 months. We'll buy a house. We'll have kids. And we'll live happily ever after. Okay. And here we are.
In Florida.
Yeah.
So you came down in 2005. Did you go straight into the CEO role, or? I
absolutely did not. As a matter of fact, John Fridlington was the CEO in Florida. He had been the CEO in Massachusetts when I worked there. So I was that example of the Massachusetts commuter. I had 3 little babies. I had 6-month-old twins. I had a monster commute. And you just get to a point where you love your job, but you don't love the traffic. Yeah. And if I'm working, I'm working. But if I'm sitting in traffic, that's just quality time that I'm not with my family. So I called him and said, hey, listen, I'm up for a job in Texas. And he said, if you're really going to leave, he's like, think about coming here. So I came down here, actually joined the legal department, was promoted to general counsel about 2 years later. Okay. And then following that, John headed off for new projects. And then Bill Martin joined us. Loved working with him. Both John and Bill were incredible mentors. Okay. They were the kind of men that you work with, and they just said go.
I love
and
it.
For me, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I never felt like I had anyone, kind of holding me back and saying, no, don't do that or wait. And so with Bill, he exposed me to a whole new world of RPAC and advocacy and all kinds of things that I didn't really have my finger in. And then unexpectedly, last May, Bill announced his planned retirement.
Okay.
That shocked me. I thought Bill would be with us for another 5 years. And the leadership team looked at me and said, we'd like you to take the helm. And It's the greatest gift I've ever been given, and to have that faith and confidence put in me. Listen, I love the organization, I love the industry, so
that's awesome.
It's been a fun journey.
So how many, again, this is not even on here, and it's funny because I look at my questions and I have 7, and I'm like, I know I'm going to have more questions for her as we go through. How many realtors are under the Florida Realtors umbrella, and where does that rank out of the 50 states?
187,000.
Only.
We are the second largest.
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Exactly. It's small village.
I think they're all in Dade and Broward County. No.
But it's funny, when I was in law school, the law school I went to in Boston was where all the legislators went.
Okay.
My plan was to be a mayor of a small town in New England. And so now I'm the mayor of a small town.
Sure.
It's just the Realtor organization.
Right.
We're the second largest. We should be the largest in 5 years. We will
Really?
exceed
So
California.
who's number one?
California.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you see it, now why would you attribute us becoming number one in California? Is it the people
Because
moving away?
exactly, they lost over 700,000 people last year. We're gaining 1,000 a day.
Wow. Oh, yeah. 700,000 you mean in population growth?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's dive right into it, because there are a couple hot topics that I love to talk about with our realtors. And the first one is technology, right? Now I have my own opinion on it. I know our viewers, if they've watched any of my episodes, know how I feel about it. What's your take on tech, and how do you see it playing a role in our life as realtors in the near and distant future?
So what I think is amazing is the angst that comes with technology.
Sure. Oh,
because
my God,
every time something changes, and I will never forget when the Zestimate arrived. My phone rang for 3 days, and it was, this is illegal. This has to be illegal. Not even close.
Yeah.
And yet, here we are. And if anything, the industry is stronger, and the Realtor brand is better because they know your value. Technology is going to constantly change, but you all constantly change. You have to.
Yeah.
With your markets, with the economy, with the kind of housing that people look at, with the demographics that are constantly changing. You are the experts in your field for a reason.
Sure.
And that's what people forget. Technology is going to keep advancing. It's going to keep changing, but so are you. And the personal touch that just about every consumer needs in a real estate transaction, especially if they're buying their own home,
Sure.
you can't replace that with technology. And I'm the absolute perfect example. I do not have a dedicated personal assistant because I don't need one. I do, however, have the best in technology to assist me.
Got it.
But at the end of the day, I have a Google Calendar that my team at Florida Realtors, my family, and myself share, and God knows who else has access to it. But that's not going to make me a better mother. It makes me more organized. It's not going to make me a better CEO. But it makes me have access to a tool that everybody is where they're supposed to be, and nobody's late.
Got it.
Usually.
There's a key word that you said, and that was expert. And so we were talking off camera that I had the Wolf of Wall Street on a couple weeks ago. And he goes, we as human beings, we inherently look for an expert in everything that we do. If you're sick, you go to a doctor. You have a legal problem, you go to an attorney. You have a car problem, you go to a mechanic. If you have a real estate, a need in real estate, you go to a realtor. You would hope you'd go to a realtor, right? But the key word is knowing, one, you becoming an expert and making the time to become an expert. Right, and then 2, making the time to make sure that everybody in your sphere of influence knows that you are that expert that they should be going to when they have a real estate need. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and to anyone out there who still has that feeling of technology's coming for my business, if you feel that way, make 5 phone calls. Make 5 phone calls. Sit down and make those 5 connections.
Sure.
Insert yourself into that scenario, and I'm telling you, it'll work.
Yeah. Well, so I did not a Closer Club interview, but just a video. And they were talking, so I did a poll of some of the top brokers across the country that I know that pay for leads. And I asked them, out of every 10 leads you get, how many of them have worked with a local realtor before? And they said pretty much 8 to 9 out of 10 have worked with a local realtor, but yet they're becoming someone else's lead. So you're worried about tech. You should be worried about your follow-up and having the time to follow up. So let's talk about threats. So we kind of alluded, everybody thinks technology is a threat. I don't. I think actually it's an opportunity to double down on your business. So if we were to think about what are the biggest threats that realtors face in our industry today, what is it, and what can we do to either prevent it or defend ourselves against whatever that threat may be?
Hands down, it's government intrusion into your business. It's over-regulation, it's negative tax environments, and it's any kind of a threat to your ability to do business the way you want to.
Got it.
There are always going to be diverse business models, and unless they are unethical or illegal, we promote them at the Realtor organization. And realtors need to understand that at the local, state, and national level, you have to pay attention. One of the things we sometimes sound like Homeland Security, because in the legal and in our advocacy office, we will tell the members, if you see something, say something, so we can get in front of it. We have examples all the time where some knucklehead, either regulator or legislator, files something thinking they're helping. You're not helping. You're making a mess. Now, the good news is we have a phenomenal team of experts lobbying for your benefit in Tallahassee, and we also have local experts who know the local market, but they're only as good as the voice that's behind them. So realtors, you've got to get involved and you got to pay attention.
So for the realtors that aren't always into politics and what's happening, and if it's not right in front of their face, they're not even looking. Is there a source that they can go that Florida Realtors offers that they can see, hey, this is what's going on, I need to get involved here?
Absolutely. Go to floridarealtors.org and click on advocacy. Our entire public policy agenda is published there, and it's not a complicated agenda. In 2019, we focused on what I would call the basics. We were huge proponents of the governor's water policy. As a matter of fact, we've got tons of tools and resources that you can talk to your customers and clients about. When you've got vacation people who are coming and saying, not really sure I want to come to Florida this year because I'm hearing that there's algae or there's water problems, we have amazing talking points which will show them, no, we're doing okay. And we are hugely supportive of the governor's efforts to make sure that water stays absolutely pristine in Florida. We're a destination hotspot. The water has to be clean.
That's right.
But we also talk about things like the business rent tax. For our commercial folks, people don't realize that we are the only state in the country that assesses an additional tax upon a commercial lease. And we shouldn't. The problem is it's a gigantic source of revenue for the state of Florida. So we're huge advocates to either reduce it or remove it altogether. These are the kind of things that any realtor can get behind because it impacts your entire economy.
That's right. Well, and for the ones that are saying, I don't do commercial real estate, why does that bother me? Why am I paying attention? Well, the reality is that's somebody who may be looking to move their business down. They may be moving the business, but they have to live somewhere, and all their employees have to live somewhere.
Absolutely. And I also tell them is think about your local expert they were talking about, your baker, your hairdresser, your barber. All of them are tenants, and they are paying an additional tax in order to do business in Florida. We don't want them to leave. We just had a sunglasses manufacturer. A guy in Daytona was telling me about it, and their business grew by like 100%. And so they had to expand their production facilities. It was a huge boon to the Daytona area. That Volusia company has now moved to, of all places, Connecticut.
Oh my God.
Now, I mean, that's the worst business environment ever. And I'm sure the state offered them a ton of incentives to come up there. But you just say to yourself, you got to be kidding me. And more likely than not, that sales tax on their business rent is why they went up there.
I wonder if Connecticut has a state income tax. They probably do.
They do. They absolutely do. Yeah, no, they absolutely do. Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about getting the realtors involved. What are some initiatives that the realtor community at large should be getting involved in to help our industry overall?
Well, first and foremost, I would advocate get involved locally. You know, get involved with Rotary, get involved with some kind of community initiative that you're passionate about. Because that, one, it's good for your business. You're going to make lots of connections in terms of selling real estate. But then also consider your local board. So many people look at the local board and they just think MLS, and it's so much more.
Talked about
we did. And there are so many opportunities for leadership, but also for connecting with other professionals, for referrals, and for basic exchange of information. I think the other thing people will realize if they get involved in their local board are the offerings that they're not taking advantage of, like educational offerings. There are so many amazing classes, podcasts, things like that they're not seeing because they're not aware of it.
Got it. Well, actually, that's a great segue. So, we both you run 180-something thousand realtors, 500 of them fall under my umbrella, and I think we probably share the same sentiment that there are tools that our respective organizations offer that just people aren't taking advantage of. Like, you kind of want to grab them and be like, why aren't you doing this? What are some things that Florida Realtors offers that you wish more realtors would take advantage of?
I absolutely wish that more realtors would get involved in our educational offerings. The one, what I would call the hot topic right now that I think is an amazing tool is what we call the Commitment to Excellence. It is an online tool that you can do at your own pace. It's not, you can do what part you're interested in. You can go out of order. It's called the C2EX app. You can go on, it's free. And you have an ability to maneuver your way through it in order to actually get to accomplish the entire thing and get what we call the endorsement, meaning you are endorsed by by the National and State Association of Realtors as you have a commitment to excellence, you have to have a designation. And so it could be a great jumpstart to either getting an ePro, which is a technology designation, or a GRI, the Graduate Realtor Institute. So I would tell anyone, if you're just kind of figuring out, because it's such a gigantic spectrum, and they're just like, I don't have time, download C2EX, log in, do one module. And they're not long. I mean, truthfully, you could do one module in a day. Just kind of logging in, logging out.
And where do they find that?
At FloridaRealtors.org or at nar.realtor.
Got it. Okay. So when they go to FloridaRealtors.org, is there a
There
button?
is. It should be right on the homepage, and you just click right in, log in. Exactly. If you have trouble with your your login credentials, call the association at 407-438-1400. We'll connect you with someone. They'll get you your credentials.
And by the way, the call centers here, we walk the legal center, we walk the tech hotline center. So when you call legal hotline, when you call the tech hotline, it's very, very impressive. Your dollars are hard at work. All right. You are definitely a power player in our industry. As the youngest CEO, and correct me if I'm wrong, I got this from Albert Carrillo, who's the vice president of our company. As the youngest CEO of a large state association, is that true, by the way?
It is.
Okay. So, Albert, you're right. What advice can you give our viewers on becoming a power player? I don't even think you have this. I don't think you've made. Oh, yeah, you did. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first and foremost is pick up the phone. When my favorite part of my day is working with the members, is being out there with them. I was just down in Key West for what we call their installation, where the 2019 handed off to the 2020 leadership. And as you know, to get from here to Key West, it's one of those, you can't get there from here. It's just not that easy. It's either an 8-hour drive or you're going to take 2 planes. But I went down because it is awesome that those folks are willing to volunteer and to give us their time. And I love going and being with them. But my relationship with them is because for 11 years, I've picked up the phone. And I will share with you that Realtor members will invite you into their lives. And especially Realtor leaders. They want to know you. And that's what I try and tell our senior team here. They want to know you. They want to understand you because they appreciate what you do. So first and foremost, pick up the phone. Second of all, acknowledge an accomplishment. People are doing extraordinary things, and it's pretty awesome. Say thank you. Appreciate the effort that they've put in. And then, in all seriousness, finally, find some balance. Find balance. Like, that's my one challenge in my life, and I fight it every single day. But there are days where I have an expression that I raised my children with. It was called eyes on me. And it was when I needed them to stop what they were doing because there was either danger or I needed them to move. And I would go, hey, eyes on me.
Got it.
My teenagers now will go, Mom, eyes on me.
Really?
And there are days where I hear that and I'm like, phone down, computer off, what's up?
Wow.
And so there are times with these guys, I'm like, guys, eyes on me. So,
got it. You know, I'm gonna steal that. That's great. And my wife watches my episodes, so I know she's gonna steal that too. That's a great way to get their attention because you try to talk to them, right? And as twins, we know this, and they're so buried in their phone. And then we got mad at them for not listening, but they're, we're not calling out to, they don't know you. There's a lot of noise in the house, right?
Well, and that's exactly, and it's a respect thing too, in the fact that they know that they respect me enough that when they hear that phrase, it's like, well, she's serious, and that when I hear it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is big.
Got it. Eyes on me. I like that. All right, last question. I think I end every interview with this question. Actually, I have at least the last 50. A book, podcast, or TED Talk recommendation for the audience.
So I just finished a book called Leadership at 30,000 Feet. It's written by this company called the Blue Aces. It is for Air Force generals. And it is fantastic. Yes, it's written with military examples, but it is applicable to anyone. So much so that I actually handed it to my 15-year-old, who is a very patriotic kid, and he read most of it. And he and I had a couple great conversations about it. So Leadership at 30,000 Feet, I highly, highly recommend it. And then I'm a huge, huge TED Talk fan, like huge. And the one that I share with people so much is Let's Keep the Awe in Awesome. And if you just type that into TED Talk, and it is this fantastic speaker talking about we are misusing the word awesome.
Interesting. Well, I got a 3-hour drive home, so I'll listen to it. I'm a huge TED Talk fan too. I love TED Talks.
So. I love TED Talks.
All right, I'm going to go around and turn the camera off. Margy, we finally made it happen.
I know, right? This has been ongoing. Like, we really had to try and get this done.
Mr. Persistence, but that's what my wife calls me. It pays off. I'm going to go around the camera, turn it off. Any parting words for the audience before we go?
Listen, on behalf of Florida Realtors, we appreciate your membership. If there's anything that we can do to help, please give us a call. It's what we're here for. There are 131 people on staff who work every single day to help make you successful. There are so many products, tools, and services. You are our Realtor Nation. You have the power. And as we go into 2020, we are ready to be better, faster, and stronger. Thank you.
There you go.